Hello, welcome back to Oracle PL/SQL tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about PL/SQL procedures parameters. So let's take a look at example. This is the procedure that we have written in our last video. So this is a very simple procedure which is going to print a string called hello world, and then from your calling environment or from your SQL plus, or if you are using SQL developer or whatever, from whatever tool, you can call this PL/SQL procedure by a statement like this, either like exec hello world or within a PL/SQL anonymous block with begin and end. This piece of program is just going to return you a string called hello world. So if you see this code is a little bit static. Like if what happens if I want to say hello, so my name say Rakesh, or hello ABC. That means, is it possible to change this procedure so that it can print some hello something depending on what I send from my calling environment? That means, is there any way that I can transfer some data from this calling environment to the procedure? And that is what is the use of parameters. So parameters essentially transfer data from the calling environment to the procedure, or from procedure to the calling environment. There are three types of parameters. The first one is in. In the in mode, we can send a constant value from the calling environment to the procedure, and the reverse is out. That means we can return a value from this procedure to the calling environment. And the last one is combination of in and out. That means we can send a variable from the calling environment to the procedure, and then in the same variable we can get something back from the procedure to the calling environment. I don't want to really confuse you with more theory right now. Instead of that, let's go and take some example of all these three cases. This is my first case, and what I want to what is my objective here is that whenever I'm going to modify that hello world program. In that hello world program, I'm going to send a value, and then based on whatever value I have sent, I want to print that value. So in this case, it will be hello ABC. If I want to send PQR, then the result should be hello PQR. Okay, so this is my requirement. My requirement is send some parameter from the program, like whenever I'm trying to execute that PL/SQL procedure, and whatever parameter I'm sending, that parameter should be used inside the procedure. So I'm going to rewrite the same procedure whatever I have written before. So this is a rewrite procedure, and in this rewritten procedure, what I have done, if you see, I have made a change. So here, just after the procedure name, what I have given, I am giving a parameter name, and that parameter is p underscore name. Then I have given that this is in. That means I am telling that this is an input parameter. Okay, and it can take a varchar2 data type. So when this is when we are executing this program. So what is happening? There is a variable. That variable name is p underscore name. Basically it's creating a variable called p underscore name, and the value of p underscore name is coming from the calling environment, that is ABC. Okay, so now p underscore name is ABC. Then what I'm doing in DBMS output put line, I'm concatenating hello with that p underscore name. So therefore this is going to return me hello ABC. So when I'm going to send PQR, so p underscore name is going to have, instead of ABC, it's going to have PQR. Okay, so p underscore name is PQR, and then DBMS output hello PQR. So this is how you pass a value from your calling environment. So this is your calling environment to the PL/SQL procedure. Okay, so next thing we want to see, another example where we can showcase you what is the use of out variable. So as I told you, so out is going to send some value from the procedure to the calling environment. So this is your calling environment and this is your procedure. Okay, so out is going to send some value from the procedure to the calling environment, whereas in is going to send you some value from the calling environment to the procedure. So I create a procedure. The procedure is p underscore a, p underscore b is in, that means input parameter. That means we have something like a string p underscore a and p underscore b is there, and also there is something called p underscore c. So p underscore c is an output variable. So p underscore c. So this is, so let's change the color of the, so this is out and these are in. Okay, so this is how it is created, and then we are showing that begin and end, and then we have computing the summation of this first two number, and whatever the summation we are putting into the p underscore c. So this is how this program is written. Now in the calling environment, what I am saying, I declare a variable x is a number, right, and then I'm calling the PL SQL procedure addition. Then I'm giving him three parameters, 7, 8 and x. So 7 and 8 are input parameters, because the way that I'm sending 7, 8. So 7 is the first thing, so 7 is come here, 8 is come here, and then what we are saying is that whatever the value of resulting value, collect in a variable called x. Okay, so now so this is the scenario like this, and then x is, it's a variable x, which is nothing is there right now. After this line number addition, what happened, the control goes from here to the PL SQL procedure. In the PL SQL procedure, it is going to create PA7, 8 and then PC. At the beginning, nothing is there. But at this line, when we are adding p underscore c is equal to p underscore a plus p underscore b, that means 7 plus 8, so 15 is stored. Okay, since p underscore c is an output variable, right, so what we are doing is we are collecting that resultant value in the variable called x. So whenever the, so basically the so the control is, after this thing, the control again is going to come back to the calling environment, because we have already executed the PL SQL procedure. So here what happens, whatever the value of the output p underscore c is going to store in x. That means from this programming point of view, we have at this line, before addition call, x is null. After addition call, x is value of p underscore c, that is 15. So this is how a output parameter works. Last one is in out parameter. So in out parameter is nothing but little bit of optimized way of using one parameter for both input and output purpose. So I modified that PL SQL procedure, and then what I did, I said that p underscore x is a in out parameter, and then that it can take a number variable. So now I define a variable in my calling environment. I declare a variable x, and that x is 15. So what I'm doing in this line, I am calling the in out param with value as x. So that means now I send a variable to this. So now that means there is a variable called x. So this x is nothing but p of x, as because this is what we defined in out parameter in the procedure. So in the beginning, p of x is this p of x is also 15. Okay, so this is x is 15. Then whenever I'm sending this thing to the basically whenever I'm sending the value is going to store in p underscore x. P underscore x is 15. Then what we did, we multiply p underscore x with 3, and then whatever the result we store in p underscore x. So that means this become 45. And then because p underscore x is the output parameter, that means whatever the value that we are seeing here is going to transfer back to x. Why x? Because this is the one that we sent. So this is also become 45. That means at at this line the x value is 15, and after this line input output parameter, this x value become 45. That means x is being sent as an input parameter, and then whatever value that x has, that can be modified by the PL/SQL procedure, and then we may get another value of that variable after the PL/SQL procedure is executed. Okay, so the two more things called formal parameters and actual parameters. So whenever we are, so this is our procedure. In the procedure, this is the specification, and this specification, this p underscore a, is called formal parameters. Okay, so p underscore a is formal parameters, p underscore b is formal parameters, p underscore c is a formal parameter. Whereas from the calling environment, whatever value we are sending, those are called actual parameters. So 7 and 8 are in constants, whereas x, which is the output, this is output variable, this is called actual parameters. You don't really need to basically do a lot of things with formal parameters or actual parameters, but this is a naming convention that they use. So the last thing that we want to do, how do I pass the parameters? Say for example, the same example we have taken the addition procedure. So we have three variables: pa is number, pb is number, pc is output number. So there are three ways you can pass parameters. The first one is method 1 is called positional. So in the positional, I want to send addition 7 8x, means that 7 is going to go to PA, 8 is going to go to PB, x is to PC. That is a mapping. But if you don't want to position, you can also send in a different way. So whatever is the formal parameters, you can basically send by this, like the formal parameter and then a arrow and then what is the value. So that means what I'm saying here in the named method, which is method 2, what I'm saying is that PB, the second parameter, is 7, the first parameter is 8, PC is x. That means I do not need to obey any positional rule. Instead of that, I can just define how my parameters are going to be sent. Okay, so this is how you are going to do in method 2. The advantage of method 2 is that we don't need to remember exactly how the position you want to send, because, and this is more readable, because you are clearly saying that the formal parameter PB is mapped to actual parameter 7, and you can basically do a combination of positional and named. Make sure that if you want to do a combination, make sure that first parameters, maybe like either first two parameters are positional. Make sure that they are according to the position. That means in this case 7 is going to p underscore a, whatever the case it is, and then p underscore c is x, p underscore b is 8. So I just tell you because it is just given, but mostly you are going to use the method 2 because it is more clear and it is more easy to maintain. Okay, so now let's take a look at the real problem that we have trying to do. The reg underscore sal, this is the PL/SQL anonymous block that we have given. So we have given in the last example, and this is the reason why you want to know, why you want to create a procedure that PL/SQL block is not good to execute by multiple users. So now we create a procedure for that, and what we have done here, we have taken two parameters. One is input parameters called p underscore empnum, and output parameter is p underscore new sal. That means I will take an input employee number and I will calculate what will be his new salary, and then I am going to return the new salary to the calling environment. Then the remaining, basically the remaining part of the code remains same except this line. So what we have done here, we have selecting job and all this thing, employee num is equal to p underscore employee number. So what is the value here? So what is the name of the parameter? You use that. Okay, and then all other things remain same except p underscore new sal. Now we are using this variable. So this is the how you are going to write the PL/SQL procedure, and this is how you are going to execute that program. So what you have done, you have create a variable called p underscore new sal, that's a number, and then call the PL/SQL procedure by giving an employee number. So 7782, that means we have p underscore emp number is equal to 7782, and then that is a v underscore new sal. V underscore new sal is there. But whenever, because since this is the output parameter, since this is the output parameter, this value is going to return. This value is going to return to where? This value is going to return to the variable called v underscore new sal, right? So after this, so basically, so like whenever we call this from, when you call this procedure, the control is going to line number 1 of the PL/SQL procedure and is going to be executed. And at this point, before the procedure is executed, new sal is null, v underscore new sal is null. But at line number 22, whenever we are associating a value to p underscore new sal, which is the output variable, that value is coming back and then sent here. So whatever the result of this computation is going to be stored in this value. So this is how we are going to use a PL/SQL procedure in real life. So this is just an example, and then I know that I just covered very small examples and just very basic examples. But what I just want to show, we are going to do a PL/SQL project. In that project, you are going to you will have a chance to write extensive PL/SQL procedure. But remember that whatever we have done here, like instead of just having only one line of code, you may write 1000 lines of code, but the concept remains same. A lot of people make a mistake in giving this mode, or giving understanding what is p underscore differentiating between p underscore c and x. A lot of people make that mistake, and I hope these small examples is going to make that make you just understand how this thing works, and make your root strong, so that you can write a good PL/SQL procedure.